Ladies and gents, traders and investors, a very warm welcome to our channel Polo Vega. On today's video presentation, we shall touch upon the topic of how much is enough for you to survive for the rest of your life. Or in other words, we shall discuss about the concept of an annuity forever, or what we call perpetuity, which is annuity for your lifetime. So we shall be touching upon the computation that goes behind the investment that you must make in order to have a continuous stream of cash flows for the rest of your life while trading, investing, and enjoying your life comfortably. But before we touch upon that topic, we shall touch upon some of the old classic scripts listed on the National Stock Exchange, such as Infosys, TCS, Tata Elxsi, Suzlon, and finally HUL. So these are the scripts that we shall touch upon over and above Nifty and Sensex. Disclaimer slash disclosure. The presentation is the 56th of a series of interactive videos aimed at educating our viewers, and we'd like to warn all our viewers of the risk associated with the business of trading and investment. Securities investment and trading is a highly risky business, and there exists a possibility of partial or total loss of investment. The ideas and opinions in our video are solely based on our analysis of the market, and we do not advise, recommend, guide anyone to take any trades based on the contents of this video. We do not take any responsibility for partial / total losses arising out of trades based on the contents of this video. Traders and investors, the chart on our screen is that of Nifty, the National Stock Exchange Index, and we're looking at the daily chart. Nifty, as a reaction to the US Treasury's announcement of buying back bonds, showed a bounce on Thursday and Friday. Although it has been printing dojis and now very strong candles, but there is a chance that it could move slowly towards the 24600 area under the influence of a weak dollar, which would allow the investors to project a higher profit potential for the IT companies which have been listed on the US Stock Exchange and the companies which have been doing a business in the US and in Canada. But overall, we can see that the Indian market has been showing a lot of weakness because of the loss of forex of foreign investors in recent times who have walked away, leaving the markets the weakest in Asia as we speak. Therefore, one needs to see if the new policies implemented by the government of India could show a change in the movement of the stock index and the overall movement of the stock market in India. Traders and investors, the chart on our screen is that of Sensex or the BSE index, and we're looking at the daily chart. Similar to the Nifty, the Sensex as well has had a bounce on Thursday and Friday as a reaction to the buyback of US bonds by the Treasury and the weakness induced by this action in the US dollar index and the sellout of the bond market in the US. But we would like to see a conviction in the traders and investors in India and move the market in the upward direction with their belief and conviction in the Indian companies rather than the market reacting to the weakness of the US dollar or the strength of the Indian rupee. The chart on our screen is that of Infosys, and we're looking at the weekly chart. Infosys is one of those companies with the largest market caps in India and had been performing steadily up until 2023 when It printed its low of 1200 and then made its recovery all the way to 2000 in December 2024, after which it has been going down on the weekly chart, as we can see. And in June 2026 it made a low of 990, where it lost almost 50% of its, or more than 50% of its value, and is now struggling to get back to take out the sell orders between 1170 and 1280. There is another supply area right above that, which is between 1270 and 1380. But as of now, we need to see if the buy orders or the support area between 1060 and 990 can hold the price of this particular script steady and above this particular area, so that it can start moving upwards, which could only result if there is a drastic change in policies by the company itself, rather than depending upon the weakness of the US dollar to make its profits, or to allow the investors to revise their expectation of the profit potential of the company. The chart on our screen is that of Tata Consultancy Services, and we're looking at the weekly chart. TCS, or Tata Consultancy Services, is been one of the best performers in the Indian market over the last couple of decades, and has dropped steadily from its high at 4600 all the way down to 2027, losing more than 60% of its value in a matter of 1.5 years. Again, the reason for the loss in value of this particular script can be attributed to two factors. The first one being the tariffs implemented by the US government on the services provided by the Indian companies, and the second one being the loss of strength in the Indian rupee. As of now, TCS has managed to stage a comeback in the beginning of July, and we can see some good weekly candles printed in July and beginning of August, and we could expect the script to start rallying back to a decent level by the end of this year, or by the end of this financial year in India, which is going to be 1st of March 2027. But still, one needs to see a strengthening in the structuring of the Tata companies, or companies run by Tata and Sons, and also a revision in the strength of the Indian rupee could help the script come back and regain some of its lost value. But as of now, it's a no-no to go for a buy in this script. Although it has made a comeback with a support area at about 2000, but we need to see another higher low printed above 2600 before we think of going long on this script. The chart on our screen is that of Tata Elxsi, and we're looking at the weekly chart. Tata Elxsi has been the worst, or one of the worst performance of the Tata group of companies in the recent times. After touching a high of about 10,000, it has dropped all the way down to 3450 this particular July, and is still continuing to go down. The downtrend is very strong, and it has not been able to make any recoveries since February this year. In fact, we can say that it has not made any recovery since end of January this year, when it was trading at about 6,000 and is currently trading in at 370A, which was the close on Friday last week. But the gradual loss of profitability in the business, or the prediction by the investors and revaluation of the company's worth, has led to a continuous downfall in the script, and it's a complete sell at this moment until it shows us some rally and some higher lows are printed in the future or not so near future. The chart on our screen is that of Suzlon, and we're looking at the weekly chart. Suzlon is one of the green power stocks which did extremely well between mid 2023 and the beginning of or the end of 2024. Precisely in September 2024 it peaked, and then on it has managed to print lower highs after lower highs on the weekly chart and then lower lows after lower lows, and as of now is in a downtrend on the weekly as well as on the daily chart. One needs to be very careful if one has a position on this particular script, because as of now the only support what we can see is in the area of 40 to 45. That's the area that we're looking at for support as of now, but this may not hold in the long run if the downtrend becomes stronger and the sellers keep taking out the buy orders one after the other. It did try to come back between May and April this year and then went sideways for a bit around 60 to 50, and then has dropped again in the month of July, and as of now it's trading at about 46, and this could take out the 40 area very easily if the downtrend in the script continues to weigh on its profitability. Again, the revision of the expectation of its profitability is the reason why the script has been in a downtrend for such a long time. The chart on our screen is that of HUL, the Unilever company based in India, and we're looking at the weekly chart. This has been one of the best scripts on the Indian market and has been performing extremely well over decades, except for the last 1 year or a year and a half when it started falling down from its all-time high of 3033 or 3040 in the month of September 2024 and dropped all the way down to 2160, again recovering to 2740 in September 25, and then on it has been in a continuous downtrend, breaking lows after lows and printing lower highs after lower highs after lower highs. And on Friday of last week it printed a new low of 2015 for the low, which is the lowest low of this year and that of last year. In fact, it's the lowest low since June 2022. So the stock is spiraling down, and one needs to be very careful if you have a position in this particular script, because you could always try and come out at one of its rallies to the nearest supply areas, which is now at around 2200, and then again take a position when it turns around or prints a continuous set of higher lows, but nowhere below 2400. As of now, there is no entry that we would advise anywhere below 2400 for a long, and you could go for a short anywhere between 2250 to 2400. So that's the area where you could short this particular script to come out of your position if you've been struggling with your position in this particular stock, as it's been one of the most dependable stocks in the Indian market, and a lot of people would have positions on this particular stock. Traders and investors, as we started discussing on the concept of perpetuity in our introduction, we shall go further into it. dividing perpetuity into two types. The first one being a simple, regular, constant stream of cash flow for the rest of your life, and the second one being the perpetuity that compensates for the growth of your income along with the rise in inflation every year upon year. If we take C as the annuity amount every year and R as the rate of discount or the rate of interest or the cost of capital, and G as the rate of growth of your perpetuity, then in order to have a continuous stream of cash flow for the rest of your life, what you need is to get C upon R as the initial amount that you need to put in your bank or invest it in an account which gives you an interest rate equal to the cost of capital R. And if you want to have a growing capital or continuous stream of cash flow where the rate of growth or the rate of attrition of capital is G because of the inflation every year, then you need to have the amount as C upon R minus G. So for an example, if you're looking at a cash flow or cash outflow of 20 lakhs every year for living a good, comfortable life along with a bit of investment and a bit of savings, then this 20 lakhs gets converted into 20 divided by 6%, which is the current cost of capital in India. But if you want to compensate for the rate of inflation that is going to affect or bring down your spending power in future years, or which is the rate of attrition, that's what we call for every year, then that 2% of attrition is going to be subtracted from your 6% of the rate of interest that you're getting on your investment. So basically you then need 2 lakhs divided by 6 minus 4%, or basically you need 25 times 2 lakhs, which will be equal to 50 lakhs of investment in case you're looking at 2 lakhs. And if it is 20 lakhs per annum, then it becomes 500 lakhs, which is 5 crores to begin with. So that's the concept of perpetuity, which started in sometime in the 16th century by the British banks, which used to give out coupons to their customers every month after they bought bonds from these banks. And in today's world, if you want to have a nice, comfortable life with a continuous stream of cash flows, then you must invest this kind of capital in order to have a good life for you and your family. Traders and investors, ladies and gents, we now come to the end of our video presentation on perpetuity and also on our discussion on various classic Indian scripts and the indexes Nifty and Sensex. We hope that you found our video presentation exciting and informative enough to come back and watch all our videos. We shall continue talking about the Indian scripts and the Indian market for the next couple of weeks before we move over to the international markets and the commodity markets. Until then, we would request you to please exercise all cautions and trade safely. We thank you for watching our video, and please like, share and subscribe to our channel Polo Vega. You may also visit us at our website www.polovega.com or get in touch with us through our Twitter handle @polovega. Have a safe trading week. Please conserve your capital and please make as much of wealth as possible until we meet next.